Hello and welcome once again to It's a Frankly Harry podcast. I'm your host, Frank Weber. So glad you could join me in the forest again this week. Have a great show for you here. Not a ton of stuff, not like last week where I had a list of things, but I did see Kenny G again at my wife's church this weekend, so I thought I'd just pass that along to you. No other interesting occurrences or fireworks or anything there, just wanted to tell you that he's apparently, I guess, coming more often now to see his family and such, I guess, as they get older. But he didn't bring a saxophone or anything, but I just wanted to pass that along to you there. I did make an observation, maybe kind of a deep one this weekend. This was the first weekend of March Madness for this year. Texas Tech is doing really well. They're on their way to the Sweet 16. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but my observation about the tournament and March Madness is, and I had never really realized this or grasped this fully before, but from a relative point of view, I would say that March Madness and probably all the championship rounds in other sports that are not called football, there seems to be something, I don't know if you call it a zeitgeist or a character to all these things. We're focusing, of course, on March Madness here, but it seems to have largely maintained its character over the years compared with what's gone on in football, compared to you think about the bowl games and now the college football playoff. It just seems kind of contrived and almost sort of fake to me. But the March Madness maintains its passion and its pageantry and its zeal. And I would say that, while a few things have changed over the years, it's largely maintained, I guess, almost a certain purity to it. And that's what I'm praising here today. Of course, there's always been politics sometimes about who gets in and who doesn't. And there's been gambling, office pools and brackets and people making money off of those. And there is still a bottom line to college basketball. And we're focusing here on men's college basketball for this show. But generally speaking, I'm still proud of the product that it produces, even with all the changes that are going on these days in college athletics with transfer portals and payers getting played and things that make it much more difficult to actually build a program over the long term. And so I was just seeing all that the other day or this past weekend, and so eureka, there are some things out there that are still seemingly sacred and maintaining their personality and their character and my love for them, even though I'm not really a basketball expert. I'm just coming on here today to be positive and thankful that not everything is going the way of football, which I'm kind of down on lately with some of the things that are going on in college football, that is. And yes, I'm also proud and I'm also happy that my school, Texas Tech, won its first two games and is on its way to the Sweet 16. Big wins over, I think it was North Carolina, Wilmington, and Drake from, which is in Iowa, I believe. And of course, if you watch any of the coverage, our coach, Grant McCaslin, is apparently buddies. No, actually, I would say good friends with pretty much all the other coaches in the world, especially the ones that he's opposing on a particular day. Goes fishing with them to Wyoming and vacations, but he's friends with all of them. We have a very friendly coach, and he knows everybody, and is bosom buddies with all of them, so very proud of him as well. Now, I am kind of interested, kind of a coincidence here. In the next round, we will be facing Arkansas again. We seem to be playing Arkansas a lot in a lot of sports lately. And, Arkansas's got a good school. I mean, I'm not trying to knock them or anything like that, but we sure play them a lot. We played them, I think, in the tournament. Was it in 22? We lost to them in 22. And then, of course, we had in football that abortion of a bowl game about 3 months ago where, I don't know, like half of both teams were either in the transfer portal or they were injured or they're sitting out because they want to be healthy for the NFL draft, or the craziest stuff that I could have never predicted even a few years ago. We lost to them in football then, and I know we've played them in baseball recently, and I think we're supposed to play them in football again some years from now. I think that's a future opponent. So I don't know why we're playing them so much lately. We used to be, of course, old Southwest Conference rivals, so it's fun from that perspective. I had no idea that John Calipari is now coaching them, and that must be a pretty new development. I don't know if he was coaching them when we played them 3 years ago or not. I thought he was still at Kentucky, and I think he was coaching Kentucky when they came to Lubbock a few years ago. But anyway, that's just, a lot of that stuff is just coincidence, and the way things work out, the way the winds blow on all these trivial matters here about who's coaching who and who we happen to be playing. So, but it should be a pretty good game. I do think it's unusual for us to meet them in San Francisco, was where the regional is. It just seems like an odd place for Tech and Arkansas to play for some reason. But we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be tomorrow, which of course is Thursday after the show airs on Wednesday. So anyway, it should be interesting, but I just wanted to point out all that stuff. It's good to know that some things, even with some changes over the years, things are still relatively the same when it comes to the men's basketball tournament and March Madness. Even though March Madness, of course, extends into April, I always thought that was kind of odd for the Final Four. All right, so I just looked it up. John Calipari, this is his first season at Arkansas. And he also played college basketball. One of the schools he played was UNC Wilmington, which we just defeated in the first round. So, and I'm sure Coach McCaslin is huge friends, maybe fans too, with Coach Calipari. So it should be a good game. Look forward to it. I don't really have a lot of deep personal advice or anything for you today. Another thing that I was just thinking about was just when we want to do good for others, it's easy to think on a big scale, and sometimes you can do that. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to not do that, but I think just as far as helping people and being of some kind of positive service to them, most of the time it's better to just keep it simple. I know, like that saying goes, keep it simple, stupid, even though I'm not trying to call anybody stupid here, but I think people get carried away with doing big things, and sometimes just doing the simple things is all that's required. I think that's kind of that may be part of our magnanimous view of things in the United States of America. We always think we have to do things on this grand scale that gives a lot of attention to us or gives us a lot of praise or accolades, but I think a lot of things are just supposed to be done in secret and kind of one-on-one, no big deal type thing. Well, it's a big deal to the person you're helping or serving, but I just wanted to give you that quick piece of advice, because I'm still thinking myself, what's the best way to serve God and to serve other people? And I like to do big things. I mean, if you're called to do that and you can do that, then that's fine. But it's sometimes it's better to start off small and kind of work your way up from that, if nothing else, or keep doing the small stuff. I mean, this is a small podcast that I hope is creating some value for you, the listener out there, and I enjoy doing it. It's not easy to come up with topics, but anyway, hopefully this is not just for entertainment or edification, but has some kind of a service quality to it as well. I don't have a lot to say, of course, this week. Not that was not important there, but I did wanted to say that I was very saddened by when I heard about the passing of George Foreman. I think he was at least two-time boxing champion and a larger than life personality. I hadn't heard or seen him in a while, and I didn't know if he was really sick or not. I just heard he had gone to the hospital and then he died there. I didn't really get to see him. Well, I guess I was around when he boxed in the 90s. I don't remember a lot of his matches from the 60s or 70s, but it just seemed like an all-around good guy. Obviously, the George Foreman grill, I had a couple of those. I think I still have one. If you think about it, it's a very simple concept. You know, if you want to cook meat or cook vegetables or whatever, you can close it and then you cook it on both sides. A lot easier than having to put it in a skillet or a pan or whatever and flip it over all the time. I'm sure you can tell them that I'm a huge expert in cooking as well. But I really enjoyed that. He was quite the entrepreneur there. I thought he was different in the way he had all these kids, and he named them. He named a lot of them George, I think, or George. Wasn't there like some Georginas or something like that too? It was a little bit different the way he did it, because usually there's only like one person with a name per generation, and he just had like George Jr. and George the Third and George the Fourth, and I don't know how high it went, but I think they were all in the same generation anyway. But so I really admire the guy. A great man of God, preacher, I believe. Great sense of humor, very likable guy. But yeah, he had been kind of out of the spotlight, and I don't. Sad to see when they kind of disappear, and then you don't hear about them again until they're gone. And so he's from Texas too. I think he was born in Marshall and spent most of the time in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we'll miss you, champ. We'll miss you, big guy. And then the other thing that I wanted to comment on, the day after, I'm a big fan of this guy, but the day after George died was William Shatner's 94th birthday, and I don't know, I really like him for some reason. I mean, I know he kind of got a little. I don't know. You hear stories that maybe Bill Shatner gets a little sideways with fans, and says he won't do podcasts, but then he does a couple of big names, and then he actually kind of got political right after the election last year. But generally, I've been watching him for so many years and so many different things, and I just can't help but love him, and got a great sense of humor, funny guy, and he just keeps on going and going and going. He certainly doesn't look 94, and I can't help but love him. Captain Kirk and T.J. Hooker, and what was he? I know a lot of people don't like Airplane 2, the sequel, that movie. But he kind of made that movie. He wasn't in it till the end, but he really kind of made that movie, maybe even rescued it in some people's minds, even though I thought it was fine for a sequel. You know, they were just trying to do, you know, the original with a new spin, you know, in outer space. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Well, you know, you can look up his resume. He's still kicking. I get the feeling that he's going to outlive he's going to outlive all these people and maybe even live forever, you know. But yeah, it's great that he's still around, 94 now, and I'm sure this time next year we'll be talking about 95 and then 96 and so forth and so on. So happy birthday, Captain, a few days late. I mean, you all know who he is. I don't know that I really need to elaborate too much more with him. But anyway, I guess that's really about all I have here this week. I'm still going to ask you to, you know, hit the subscribe button and tell family and friends about me and about this show and welcome your feedback. You know, I still don't hear from anybody out there, and you know, you can wonder sometimes if your show is really, you know, is it good or is it not good, and what needs to change. And you know, I've obviously told you before about things that I'd like to do here that I can't really do right at the moment, or I don't really know how to do. You know, I'd love to hear from you though, and yeah, just tell everybody you run across about this show and leave comments, direct messages, whatever you need to do. I would love to hear those and reply back to you as well. So that's good. It's springtime now. It seems like the weather's kind of warming up, maybe calming down a little bit, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. I think we may still have a little bit more time with some up and down stuff, but anyway, with that, I'll go ahead and sign off for this week. And I'm your host, Frank Weber, from It's a Frankly Hairy Podcast. I'm so glad that you joined me again in the forest this week, and we'll see you here again next week. Bye. Love you.